Okey-dokey.
Hello, everybody. I'm Debbie Mann from Turn the Page LLC, and I'm here with Jessica Bush from Tutor Doctor.
Good morning, everybody.
This is our series on No Drama, No Trauma, helping our kids thrive in school. This is our second episode. We're so excited to be having the series. So today we're going to focus on reactive versus proactive experiences with kids and families. And we came across this because I guess we're both really seeing a lot of kids in crisis, kids who haven't, maybe because of COVID, maybe other reasons, haven't really developed the skills yet to be able to do self-advocacy and take a more proactive stance. And so then I'm seeing them in a clinical office in a counseling session where the child's in crisis, their anxiety has skyrocketed, the family's in crisis because there's a lot of tension in the family from having dealt with all of these school issues and the child's irritability and anxiety. So one of the things I focus on very heavily with families is let's look for patterns and let's see if we can anticipate times when kids might spike with their stress level. So for example, if you have a child with social anxiety, are there assemblies coming up in school? Are there classes where they have to do a lot of group activities? And how can we support them and help them through that, like getting school supports or teacher supports? Or kids who have a lot of test anxiety, how do we help prepare them for it so they don't go in, panic, fail, and now we're in a crisis mode? Jessica, what would you say you're seeing?
I think what I'm seeing is very similar, having to do with, of course, the academics and testing, is that overall, I think, COVID has set everybody to a certain place where I think the kids didn't have a lot of work. They didn't have as much work as they have now. Some of them didn't have tests. They didn't have quizzes. And now they're back in school and they have so much work that they're feeling like they can't handle it. There's overwhelm. There's paralysis. Some of them are just like frozen. And I think we all have to be really sensitive and anticipate that they are going to feel stressed and they're going to feel behind. And how can we help them in a proactive way? How can we anticipate that this is going to happen before it's a crisis situation, or before they're in your office, or before they're calling me freaking out a day or two before a test? Because that's like it's putting out a fire, and we can't adequately handle that sort of thing. Maybe we're putting the fire out, but in my situation, it's not going to necessarily bring up the grade. It may just get them through a test and not have them fail, which is fine, but we want them to really thrive.
What's interesting about what you're saying when you talk about paralysis. When we talk about trauma, we talk about fight, flight, or freeze. And although there may not be necessarily an identified trauma, I think COVID was traumatic for many people in many
Absolutely
ways. And it sounds like you're having a lot of that freeze response. And sometimes we see flight, right? Kids refusing to go to school. And then it becomes a fight and an argument. So rather than sort of looking at it as we're going to battle this morning, that proactive, what do they need to help them feel a little calmer, a little safer entering that school, going into that test, which, is sort of like a gradual shift in skills that we teach.
It's kids. Definitely gradual. And that's what I say to a lot of our families. This is a process. You don't wave a magic wand and floop out of a tutor and all of a sudden everything is fabulous. It's a process, especially coming out of COVID and going into the winter now. I think there's still a lot of uncertainty,
And I think also, what I see with my own kids, teaching them how to develop the skills of self-advocacy, rather than me writing an email to their teachers, then I sometimes I'll have to help them craft an email, but
right.
Really having them write the email from them and them get the response from their teacher and develop that dialogue. And also having flexibility in thinking, if you have a kid that's in a certain level class and all of their classes are at a higher level than they can really handle emotionally or academically, and having some flexibility in the thinking and kind of creating balance. I always talk about balance, and, we have to have mental health and success, academic success at the same time.
It's funny because I was in one of my good friends who's a life coach session, and she was saying it's balance and it's also alignment, right? That word alignment, where parents and kids or families are in alignment with one another, that's hard. That's really hard to do
Right.
because we have expectations but it's not, we need to like sort of modify that, our expectations right now.
Right.
And what you said about self-advocacy, try to anticipate what they're going to need academically, for me anyway, academically, instead of all of us and teaching them that it's okay to ask for help. Asking for help doesn't mean you're stupid or or there's something wrong with you or you're slacking or whatever. It means that there's a concept or something you don't understand and you need, one-on-one personalized help to get through to understand that concept better. Because they all build on each other, and asking for help is a good thing.
I think our main takeaway today is anticipate and tracking and adjusting to the changes that we say.
Absolutely.
Great talking with you today.
Thanks, Debbie, as always. See you guys soon. Comment in the chat.